Our oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, and yet less than 5% has been explored. In fact, we have better maps of the Moon and Mars than we do the bottom of our ocean. Some of the most famous science redefining of these rare maps of the ocean floor were created by the determined, inspiring female geologist and oceanographer Marie Tharp.
I must say it's been a great
Marie
pleasure to
Tharp
be
was
here.
born in 1920 in Michigan, United States, and grew up with extensive exposure to science and mapping activities from her father, who was a soil surveyor. Tharp herself once said, "I guess I had mapmaking in my blood, though I hadn't planned to follow in my father's footsteps." Marie actually wanted to study literature in college, but at the time as a woman she was not allowed. Instead, she went to Ohio University, graduating in 1943 with English and music majors. It wasn't until World War II when job opportunities in previously manly occupations like science started to open up for women. As Tharp recalls, girls were needed to fill the jobs left open because the guys were off fighting. Marie saw this as her opportunity and graduated in 1944 with a major's degree in geology, finding work at Columbia University. Later, as the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the USA got hotter, the US Navy became interested in a map of the seafloor for submarine strategies. This became a goal for many geologists. However, women could not go on research ships, and Tharp was hired as an assistant to male graduate students. She had to work with Bruce Heezen, who would do the field work of collecting thousands of depth measurements across the Atlantic Ocean using echo soundings, while Tharp visualized and interpreted the data, creating large hand-drawn maps of the seafloor. Tharp's careful plotting of 6 east to west profiles along the North Atlantic uncovered something never before described: a hundreds of feet deep and miles wide cleft in the middle of the ocean. She suggested that it was a rift valley, therefore meaning that the bottom of the ocean was not just a flat plain as previously thought. Heezen dismissed this as girl talk and told her to redraft and recalculate. When she did, the rift valley was still there. However, as a girl, her theory was not taken seriously by her male partner, and it took half a year until Heezen was convinced. 3 years later, the findings were published, mind you, without any credit of Marie Tharp, discrediting her for the single fact of her gender. Unfortunately, this obstacle was something she was unable to do much about, but she overcame it by persisting with her discovery, and eventually she became acknowledged for her immense contributions. However, her new discovery not only revolutionized the way of geology completely, discovering the seafloor is covered in canyons, ridges, and mountains, but her work helped to prove the theory of plate tectonics, an idea that at the time was considered science heresy. Another research assistant was plotting the locations of earthquake epicenters on a map of the same scale and size as Tharp's map for the Rift Valley, as seen. By comparing the two maps, they were able to realize that the epicenters of the earthquakes fell inside the Rift Valley, therefore suggesting movement was occurring in the Rift Valley, where the ocean's floor had been split in two by two landmasses moving apart. To check her theory, she continued to do research, expanding to different areas of the ocean floor, and continued to find that where there were mid-ocean ridges, there was also earthquakes, pointing to the fact that these two were related. In 1957, the findings were finally reported, but most scientists didn't believe it. Renowned undersea explorer Jacques Cousteau was so determined to prove them wrong, he set out on his own expedition to film the ocean's floor. However, the footage showed exactly what Tharp had drawn: a deep valley splitting the Atlantic ridge in half, proving Tharp and Heezen's work entirely accurate, and furthermore, Wegener's theory for continental drift. Overall, completely revolutionizing the way we understand the science of the ocean and plate tectonics today. Her tiresome calculations and drawings allowed her to create maps that proved that the seafloor wasn't a flat plain of mud as previously imagined. And her new discovery helped to also prove the theory of plate tectonics, which has had immense impact on our understanding of how almost everything on the planet works. Although at the time she faced continuous barriers as a woman, today there is no debate that Marie Tharp is one of the best cartographers of the 20th century, and an absolute inspiration to female scientists everywhere.